Knights move up into second place with their overtime win against Wildcard, which is good news for the OCE fans because now second and third occupied by two Oceanic teams. Bad news though, Dev Marta, is that the other two are in second last and last place. Chiefs versus Order coming up now, and this is must-win territory.
Yeah, it's the battle for last place or to get out of last place. Yeah, Chiefs and Order, both teams that have had rocky starts here, of course, but we have seen some flashes of greatness. Chiefs last week taking that marathon 8-7 over Invictus. I think that was a moment where suddenly they thought, hey, look, our form is starting to ramp up a little bit here in APAC South. These guys are the reigning OCN champions. We've really hyped them up in OCN. They recently took a victory over Knights in those nationals. But yeah, coming into APAC South, these guys just don't hit the same form. I really hope that we can see the energy from them that we see in OCN. Of course, we have the face cameras that we really get to see how animated these guys are and how much it really is, as Specker from Order says, 95% mental. And I think that in recent times, Chiefs have been the team that have embodied that statement.
Yeah, the Chiefs domestically have looked pretty good in Oceanic Nationals. Unfortunately, regional results for them throughout the year have been a little bit shaky. That said, on paper, heading into this matchup, they do look like the better lineup. This year, their round head-to-head against Order is 21-13 in their favor. One of those was a loss, the other two really confident victories. In fact, the most recent results, the two most recent being APAC Stage 1, OCN Stage 2, very dominant victories in favor of the Chiefs.
Well, their opponents, of course, Order, the ever inconsistent Order. The only thing that would be harder to predict is whether or not Raven will get his predictions correct, which, fortunately, Raven actually did get his prediction correct tonight with the Knights' victory over Wildcard. So maybe, Dev, there's a chance for Order to find themselves on the winner's board as well.
Yeah, look, I totally agree. These guys are hard to predict. They're very, very hot and cold. We've seen some great moments, great individual performances, particularly from players like Nathan Bailey, who've really stepped it up this stage. And Specker, he's been pretty quiet, but if I recall last week in the game against Invictus, he actually had a really good one. So all credit to him. Though the problem that we've seen consistently from Order is that the pressure does tend to get to them. In particular, I believe we were talking about OCN this week, this past week. They had a really, really rough time, just clearly very cluttered comms and just stuck in their own heads. A couple of really just critical errors on their behalf, couple of team kills. And so I think that really these guys have the potential to skyrocket. It's just about keeping their mental cool. As Becca says, it is 95% mental.
Yeah, as I sort of prefaced, Order head into this matchup on the head-to-head a little bit on the back foot. For whatever reason, they haven't been performing great against the Chiefs. That said, last week, that result against Elevate, the 8-7, where they pushed it to OT and claimed 2 points, does give them a positive sign. They'll be happy with that result and can take that away, but they're looking to take that next step. And it feels like we just keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for Order to take that big next bound. I'd argue that maybe taking down the Chiefs isn't the biggest of leaps, but it does seem like it is a demon for themselves. So in that respect, it would be.
Which is interesting how you say that. They're the Oceanic champions. They made playoffs in APAC South Stage 1. So the Chiefs, maybe if they've just fallen a little bit here in last place currently. Let's go and have a look at the map vetoes and see how it played out between these two teams behind the stages. And it's Consulate, your favorite map, guys. Fortunately, you're on the desk for this one, so you don't have to sort of cast it, but you will have to bear witness. Order had the final ban. They took out Clubhouse. But Dev, we've been seeing a lot of Consulate lately, and it continues here.
Totally. It was actually the map that both of these teams played last week and won in 8-7 overtimes against Invictus for Chiefs and Elevate for Order. Great performances from both of them, albeit very, very close. I don't blame Order from taking it to Consulate instead of Clubhouse. Chiefs are just so good on Clubhouse. It is flawless for them the last 7 times that they have played it. So yeah, pretty predictable, I think, from Order to take us here. That said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for them. Order did lose this very map to Rufflecopter earlier, previously just in Stage 1 of OCN. And look, I think that coming into this, Chiefs don't necessarily have a lot of evidence for how they perform on this map, mainly just that result from last week. I think before that, in fact, yeah, they haven't played a single time since they were picked up by the Chiefs. So in a way, Order doesn't have a lot of info to go on. And I just on that basis alone, I am leaning slightly towards Chiefs for this one.
Yeah, when I look at the head-to-head, or at least the history for both of these teams, my eyes were gravitated a little bit more towards the bans. being very recent, I'd say they're pretty comparable in that respect. Now, we did see both the Nomad and the Valk taken off the board in both of those matchups. However, there was variance with the remaining bans, right? So in the Chiefs matchup, they had to face off against a Thatcher and Wamai ban against them, whereas in that Order matchup, Yana and Kaid were taken off the board. Now, that's going to shift up massively how the match is played. I would argue that with Thatcher and Wamai being taken off the board, that can make those attacks a little bit scary, but also open them up. It allows you to play a little bit more aggressive with less projectile denial available to the defense. On the flip side, Yana is ever popular at the moment in competitive Siege, so if we see her taken off the board, maybe that could rattle one of these teams. Either way, though, for me, that's going to be one of the interesting components to this matchup. What bans are we going to see? How much homework have these teams done, and what are they going to try and exploit from their opponent?
Just quickly here, Dev, you said you were favouring Chiefs, but your prediction was Order.
Yeah, well, I had to just go against Raven. I mean, that was literally how I picked my predictions today. I started really thinking hard. It's like, oh, this team will take it, that team will take it. And I was like, nah, someone has to do it. Someone has to commit and go all the way against Raven.
Oh,
I've already been
Xenox chop in there as well, Dev. I
yeah,
like where you
I'm
go.
going all out tonight. I'm getting energized. Just the competitiveness. I just want to beat Raven, and I'm currently fighting from behind 0-1 at the moment. Raven pointed out that if he goes flawless tonight and gets 4 out of 4, then we will actually be on the same at 5 right and 11 wrong. So I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen. All I've got to do is get 1 correct, and I will be ahead of Raven.
All right, well, the game is ready to go. Chiefs Order. We'll throw it over to your 2 fantastic casters, Manic and Raven.
Honestly, I never really know what we're going to expect. I don't know. I don't know which Xenox is coming out at any given moment, Raven. But also, too, you know, we can kind of bring that into the game that we're about to see. We never know what Order's going to rock up in the server.
We really don't, honestly. I think that's the biggest X factor in this match. You know, Chiefs are a little bit more of a consistent known quantity, at least when you compare them to Order. But Order have been all over the spectrum. But it feels like in Stage 2, they are starting to tighten it up a bit.
Certainly are. The problem being, this is a bottom-of-the-table clash. These points are absolutely crucial for both of these teams. In the chat at the start of the game, encouraging everyone to have a good bit of fun. Now, I swear, if Specker was to have a nickel and a dime for every time Dev mentioned that it's 95% mental and mentioned that Specker is the one that coined that, he would be almost a millionaire by now, Raven. I think that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there, Matic. Look, just one little thing that I couldn't help but notice as I was looking at stats at the moment for the stage. Something that really stands out for me is Worthy on the side of Chiefs. He's 2nd in the league for rating at 1.36. He's 3rd in the league for positive KD at +13. 4th in the league for entry at +3. 2nd in the league for cost at 79%. That is incredible across 4 stats. And the fact that Chiefs are on bottom, it feels like it's almost, I don't know, if his team can tighten it up a bit and maybe pick it up, they might be able to just jump up these standings, because the fact that he's just in all of these stat categories is pretty incredible. And on top of that, to complement, Fisher Guy, most plants in the league with 5. So there's a lot to statistically go in the favor of Chiefs right now. And I think that's concerning for Order. But yeah, I think the big question comes back to, what Order are we going to see?
Really, really begs the question, doesn't it? Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back and have a look at the stats as well. But, you know, the same story for Worthy was actually the same story we were making for Hysterics, I believe, who are now Invictus this season, Giants last season, which was the fact that he was on top of the rating category. But, I mean, you look at their results and they were, I mean, let's just say it, they were abysmal, to say the very least. So we'll wait and see. Now, banning phase has been concluded, Raven. Anything out of the ordinary that you'd want to mention?
I think the big one that people are going to be like, what about, is going to be the sledge. Like, it's really not that common of a ban. In fact, I'm not sure we've seen it banned at all, at least this stage. Really not commonly banned in the past. Yeah, no, just looking here, 0 bans so far this stage. But I think that's just a bit of a target ban and a crutch ban at that. You know, very strong operator on Consulate because of the vertical play. In particular, when you're attacking Garage, those sledgehammers are just generally helpful for the vertical play, and the frag grenades, of course, are always helpful. So I think it's just Probably more of a comfort ban to destabilize opponent, but yeah, look, I think there's merit in just the general strength of taking Sledge out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. We are going to see God Legion on the Vigil, and he's the kind of player that you'd want to put a GPS tracker on because he's going to be here, there, and everywhere, especially on an operator like this. Now, no one's actually rotated to the left of spawn, so he's not going to find any credit for his positioning. Now, having said that, Fisho Guy will cop a little bit of a tag as he makes his way down. A little bit of information. As far as everything's concerned, it does look like Chiefs are playing much more for a solid basement hold. They do have the extension with the open hatch into public bathroom, I believe. However, there isn't anyone playing in there just yet. The third player still up on top. Sorry, a second player up on top of the third floor. There we go. We got there in the end. And I believe that was worthy. So that's no bueno.
Yep, no bueno for the Mozzie. But God Legion's still elusive there up on the third floor. I think I just saw Vast sneak up the Visa stairs. So again, looks like Chiefs are pretty content to hold this roam. God Legion dropping down a piano. And this is a big task for Order right now, or a big test, so to speak. If they can clear out this roam effectively, they're going to have a two-man advantage likely, pushing towards side. It's going to be incredibly helpful.
Oh, I don't mind that. I do not mind that from God Legion, but there's absolutely no way he's going to get away with it. There's too many players looking at his position. Oh. Vast comes to the save. It does not confirm. And Fisho Guy, Digital, the only two to remain. I mean, there's not really much to talk about for the Chiefs at this point. It's just going to be a monstrous Hail Mary. Fisho Guy does not spot the player outside a garage. I mean, Digital has done some pretty funky things in the past, but this would just be impossible. There you go.
There you do go. Flawless round for Order to start it off. What a way to start the match. And from the attack side as well, it's really good signs from them. That was a really great clear of the roam. Really had very minimal impact from the Chiefs. And look, Chiefs doubled down on it. They just continue to throw bodies, sure. But at the end of the day, Order just really effectively closed it out.
Sure that that's not a sign Chiefs will look to double down on in any sense. Now, you know, Worthy falling at the start of the round, certainly the player that you want up until the absolute last breath. See Digital drop off of the Echo and onto the Kaid at the last possible second. Whilst they do have their little tricky places just on the bottom of Piano. On the ceiling, I should say, of the basement and the floor of Piano. I cannot remember for the life of me where it's actually placed as the Kaid, but it is very tricky to get nonetheless unless you get that vertical control. And if Worthy and God Legion are able to hold it a little bit stronger this time around, I think there's a better case to be made. Having said that, it is a completely different lineup with God Legion obviously favouring the little ADS boy.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see whether Chiefs stick this roam or not. Have had a slight role change. I believe it was Fisho playing the mirror last round. But yeah, I'm really curious if they are going to hard try and roam again, because I think it's important to slow down the early phase of Order's attack here. If they give too much map control straight away, I think that's going to be really, really tough to deal with. I'm pretty sure I just saw red silhouettes on the top floor there from Chiefs. So yeah, it looks like they really are sticking this.
I mean, they never had a hope in the last round, so if they can even, you know, hold on to this site, this floor for a little bit longer. Is that Vast that was playing on? Yeah, it was. Okay, so God Legion just needs to get away from this position just for now. And again, burning the time is really on the agenda. Order need to be careful how long they really set aside to make this a more confident decision, as God Legion can back away at any particular time. But this is tricky. This is a tricky one for Order as to how to approach this, but it does look like they are going for the roam clear.
Oh, and this is big because they don't seem like they know that Vast is in Tellers. He is going to have a big opportunity, and he seizes it. That is Specker off the board. Flank Watch just got a little bit scarier. Oh my god, it just saved Vast's life.
Hang on, did he just get air jabbed into the corner of Tellers and then get air jabbed out of the corner of Tellers?
Yes.
That is absolutely ridiculous. What? Oh, man, sometimes you just got to love this stuff. Oh, Bailey, that's disgusting. Oh, what?
This has been an eventful little 20, 30 seconds here, but look, good sign for the Chiefs. Bring it back here. That roam was far more successful. They've taken 2 players from Order and they burnt off so much time. I mean, that's a significant amount of time that hasn't been able to be done to progress towards sight. And this is really, Order are going to have to make some tough decisions on exactly how do they structure this push, and tough decisions are made. Nico's just going to try and go straight for Kitchen. It does not work. Worthy's there to shut that one down.
You know, that is a Hail Mary. That's the one where you're hoping that the Chiefs aren't watching certain lines. You're hoping that Fisho Guy is kind of in the middle of setting something else up. Doesn't pay dividends. Jack Daddy now has to go absolutely nuclear to bring this back into the realm. And Fisho Guy says no. No, thank you very much. I'll gatekeep this. Finds himself the second kill for the round, and a much better round from the Chiefs, Raven.
It was, but I tell you what, there was some scary moments in that early round that could have gone in a different direction. But ultimately, it was really big play from Vast to be undetected there in Tellers, getting that opening pick on Specker. It kind of left Order scrambling to try recover. And in that scramble, they progressed to lose another player, only trading 1 back. And that was where it really felt like it was all over for Order, because that was a 2-minute burn to really get to that stage. So yeah, great job from Chiefs to adapt. A little bit of a role change, just a little change to the way that they played out that early round, and yeah, successful defense.
Certainly a map like Consulate allows you to have a lot more versatility in your operator lineup, and you're seeing it on the Chiefs right now, constantly changing things up. Vigil in 1 round, Kaid in the other. Now seeing the Echo being brought back out. Does allow you to kind of chop and change a little bit more than some of the other sites on certain maps that we do see. Now, I am, in a sense, worried for Order and where they're going to. Again, it's the same conversation I was having about where the points are going to come from. I mean, for either of these teams, really. You look back at the last 3 games from Chiefs. Now, I guess you could make the claim that, you know, they've had to play QC and also Elevate, who coming into this season, Elevate were obviously the team that we expected to do the best. And well, QC, for lack of a better explanation, have absolutely stormed away so far in stage 2. But they are both sitting, both Order and Chiefs are sitting on only 2 points. And both of those coming from overtime wins. So there's a claim to be made here that if they do not secure, well, if one of these teams is not going to secure a win, right? So that in itself is going to be concerning, as this is the halfway point. This is now with only 3 games left after this play day. There is so much work to be done.
Yeah, there is, and I guess these guys are just fortunate that the teams above them aren't too far ahead, but of course they're trying to get into a playoff position, and netting a 3-point victory tonight really jumps them right back into the middle of that pack. So a 3-point victory for either of these teams is huge tonight in the context of the rest of the stage. So this is definitely a big game for both of these teams right now. And this is a big moment for Order, because Nico in with the piano control can get some great verticals into CO, or even maybe try and dent into this yellow position that Fisho is holding so well right now, and so well guarded in that. But we've seen it time and time again where Nate, very effective on these Rotero drones from Flores.
He doesn't knock off the first ADS, and there's an ADS sitting a little bit deeper now. It looks like it's just going to get the barbed wire as well. So a little bit less impactful, as if you were to say. Now, that is a lot of utility being burnt toward the top of the stairs, and it will actually net Order a kill. That's a massive one to take away with Fisho Guy going down.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just kind of crossed along the angle that Bailey was holding, and Specker has been able to follow it up with a pick onto Worthy. So Order storming ahead right now in this attack.
Yeah, the timing from Vast to look away from the top of yellow, just not what you want at all. Now comes a very huge moment. God Legion, a player to stand up and a player to look out for. As Digital comes down to the backside of the long desk with no sight control. Do they have any kind of droning? Nope. Digital can't get there in time. God Legion also can't deny it. and it looks like they just made their way back out onto the rappel. This is one of the most difficult positions to try and retake. If, basement wasn't hard enough, Raven, this surely is not doable.
Yeah, it is going to be really tough because they've given Order the opportunity to be able to get out in the rappel, and
Bang.
now Nico with solid control of yellow. He's taken Digital low. It really is going to be tough because trying to bait these rappel players, especially as a solo player, it's just not going to happen. Order will close that one out, and that was a really strong attack statement from Order.
Certainly is. Fortunately, the heroics of God Legion go unnoticed in that round, especially it's a 2 versus 5. I mean, that is outrageously clean from Order, and I guess that is a very scary prospect for Chiefs to have to look at. Is Order on their attacking side may well just run away with the first half. Now, that's not to say that Chiefs won't be able to respond in the second half, but it certainly makes things a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And, I mean, that's a really damning stat. Consulate is more defender-sided, at least in APAC South at the moment, generally around a 57% win rate on the defense. So I guess you can't really afford to allow Order any more rounds. At the very least, 3-3 has to be the absolute least that Chiefs need in this first half, as what we like to call as a pass rate and kind of a good idea or a good indication as to what the end score may be. But 3-3 is the absolute minimal expectation.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but something that's baffling me, or that did baffle me, I should say, sorry, is that the Chiefs did try to go top 4 before they went for lobby. I mean, top 4 tends to have the lower win percentage. At the moment, it is 50-50 in APAC South in the times we've seen it. But looking back to Stage 1 stats as well, it was a 0% win rate. Of course, that was only across 2 maps, but regardless, it was played 3 times, and not once did the defense actually win CO. So it just hasn't been a well-favored site. But they've moved on from it, which is great to see. They're going to lobby press. And I just have a feeling this is going to generally probably be another back-and-forth match.
Yep. Well, it's actually kind of interesting to see that CEO is now being picked as the second most site. For as long as I can remember in the last 2 seasons, I feel like Lobby's definitely been the one, and certainly Worthy has been as well. The Neo to our Matrix, there is no doubt about it. Oh my God, putting on an absolute clinic and a display of individual prowess. Something you love to see. Spec is next up on the chopping block and needs to be careful.
Does, but Worthy has pulled back from that admin position. It was a really great job on that
no
early.
Way.
Oh, that is a tight little wall bang, and just like this, Order have turned the tides. I was literally in the middle of saying it was a very successful early phase here from Chiefs, but no, Order stepped it up big time, and now there's a player trapped in meeting. He's going to be able to retreat down the Visa stairs, but I believe Jack Dad, he's outside, so no, Fisher is safe for now.
Wow. What an interesting turn of events. Fisho's decided to fall all the way back down into the basement and rotate back up spiral stairs. Now, where these yokai drones are placed, they're going to be of the utmost importance. We saw last round, it could have been the big denial of the plant, but they were just not in the right position. And they're going to be used as extra intel as well. It's Jack Daddy now spotting out Fisho. That's going to be the information. Jack Daddy swings, but can't find the kill.
And that could have been a key moment here, because the Chiefs do manage to bring this back to be 2v2, still with Echo and Smoke on the board. That's pretty big, but Jack is going to catch Fisho on that rotate. So now a tall ask for Digital in this 3v1.
Certainly is. We've seen him do some outrageous things in the past, and he's going to be called upon once again to do just that. You can see all of the players now on the drones that need to be passed on for information, and I don't think that Digital has any positioning to play for. A 1v3 that cannot find even the first hurdle. And this is just a clinic that we are seeing from Order. My goodness.
Certainly is turning out to be a pretty successful attack phase right now from Order, and that's, as you said, a great sign, because we're seeing at the moment in APAC South that it's a 57% win rate for the defense. So they're kind of bucking that trend as it is. And just like that, the Chiefs have called attack timeout to really collect themselves and try and salvage this, because this is a half that they need to, at minimum, be getting a 3-3 on just to give themselves that opportunity moving into their attack phase. But also, you definitely don't want to give momentum to Order, because they are really a team that can ride those momentum waves and really go from strength to strength if you let them.
Chiefs tack, and we have really talked about the full effect of these tack timeouts. They really do allow you to take your time in talking about any such issues. And I know Dev spoke about before what we get to see from the Chiefs as an actual roster on the player cams in OCN, but one of the big things that we actually get to see are those player cams in tactical timeouts, and it's really interesting to see how much has really been spoken about and how many teams just take that time to kind of reset their mental. And I feel like this is a huge opportunity for Chiefs to kind of reset whatever has been going wrong, because whatever it is, it's going pretty drastically wrong. The fact that Order have been so convincing in their 3-round wins so far, we do ask the questions of the Chiefs. Where are these rounds going to come from? Right now, basement has to be 100%. You have to confirm this site. You cannot allow this to slip again for a second time in this half. And I mean, if Order take this, man, they are making an incredible run, an incredible statement for this game.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it's the only site that Chiefs have been able to win so far in the half, so they do need to just lock this in, because it will keep them obviously in contest and give them that opportunity to tie up the half. And it was a pretty decent win in round 2, so all things considered, you would kind of back them in to be able to pull it out again, but tie your minds back to some pretty hairy moments in the early round where Vast kind of got saved by some air jabs miraculously, and that really could have changed the way that round panned out. Like, it could have made this a 4-0 situation.
Yeah. Now, to see what Nate can get done with the Roteros, as Digital is going to play 100% the gatekeeper of the drone haul toward the bottom of Garage. You really don't have a choice with these Rotero drones. Every time you see the Flores, you cannot allow that drone haul to really be unattended. And the only way you can do that, I feel, is if you keep your players alive in the early parts of the round. You just cannot afford to have players dropping like flies, which we've seen from Chiefs time and time again. And that is to the credit of Order, no doubt about it.
Definitely is. And they're taking their time right now, just wanting to not forfeit too much to this roam, which I think is a good play, but they will have to create some action at some stages. Worthy and God Legion still pretty deep on this roam. Worthy is now just going to retake Piano, as it's been not yet taken by Order halfway through here. And it's just Order being a little extra cautious, and it has just really created a pretty significant stall for the whole first 90 seconds.
Bit of a stalemate, and now the Rotero drones from Nate. Really interested to see how he's going to be using these. Now, there's nothing really... Oh! Fisho, that is outrageously big, because now he's been alerted as to the place of this Rotero drone. Digital's going to come in. That could have been quite large, just being able to take off the cheeky little deployable shield that kind of supports you when you are peeking anywhere from yellow into, of course, the garage wall. And on that, in order to have found a pick, and it is Worthy as well. Large one nonetheless.
It is a big pick. Looks like, based on outlines, I'm counting 4 down back in basement, so God Legion back on site as it is. But yeah, while Order do have the man advantage, there's still significant site control that the Chiefs have. And they've done a pretty good job of just holding Order back, but not from the picks. And this is going to be a really messy little 30 seconds here to try and make this work.
Yeah, it certainly was. That Rotero drone that we saw 2 seconds before actually took 2 ADSs off at the bottom of yellow, which allowed that kill to kind of be confirmed. Fisho guy completely blind as he came around the corner to try to hold the entrance. Now with 20 seconds left, this is a big moment here for Order. They are still in with an incredible shot. There's no vertical control from the Chiefs. If they can get behind White, get that plan off, Vast trying tries to make the play, and now God Legion steps up. Can Digital get into a position to deny this? He's got no C4 in hand. Oh, what a kill on a Specker! Can he deny the plant? No, it goes down just with a second left on it, and this surely is done. And oh my God, Nate! What a response! And Digital, he won't know that he's down right now, so he's going to have to just stick this. Fortunately enough, he still has God Legion up that can watch that angle. What an insane couple of seconds there, Rajan. That was absolutely massive from our favorite DGTL.
That was really hectic little close to that round. I felt like Nate had that for a second there, but no. Digital really steps that up. It was some sharp shots from him, in particular that one on the player in yellow stairs. So key. And he was really close to just denying the plant in the first place. It was almost not post-plant situation. But bringing it back, again, huge round for the Chiefs to get, because it does keep them in touch with order right now. It does give them that opportunity to come back to get that 3-3 half.
That was disgusting from Nate. Absolutely disgusting. Oh. Okay. Attention all onto this last round. No doubt about it. A 4-2 half would be so detrimental to the Chiefs roster. A 3-3, however, and Order would be feeling like they've definitely missed out on an incredible opportunity. So, no matter which way you put this last round, it is impactful. And we are going to see the Archives Towers defense. This has seen such varied success over, well, particularly stage 2. It's really been a bit of a sore point, I think, for a lot of our conversations. We've only seen it a total of 6 times out of a possible 42 rounds, and it's gone 50-50. And to be fair, even the rounds that have been confirmed, I do feel like some of them were a little bit up in the air up until the last second. So it's not a sight that instills a lot of confidence on the defense, but it still has enough to claim, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does, and look, it's just a degree of comfort for them, but also I just think it's a great decision to avoid that top 4. I think that's the biggest part of it. So we'll see how they go. Round 1 on Teller's Archives was very average. So see whether they can at least put in a more decent performance on this one, and they just hang in there in round 5. But at the moment, it feels like Order are just in pretty decent control of this matchup. You know, they really could have had round 5, and by all rights, maybe they could have even had round 2. You know, this could have been a pretty significant lead for Order right now.
Well, first minute, again, uneventful, considering how often we've seen spawn peaks from a lot of these teams in APAC South. It's very uneventful. I don't think have we seen one spawn peak? I don't think we have.
Not successful.
No.
Yeah, definitely not successful.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, Chiefs. Well, I guess however you get the job done, you can't really knock it. If they do end up 3-3, it will be a good talking point toward the end of the match. And Order has slowly and surely taken a bit of the top floor control, you know, going from CEO across, but they are going to be met with a lot of friction towards the admin side of the map.
Yes, Worthy and Go Legion both camped up there, and both the 2 real hot players for Chiefs right now, besides Digital, of course. Our man, he did clutch out that last round, but yeah, it's definitely a big force that they're going to have to try and clear here if they want admin control, and at this stage, it's hard to say whether that's exactly what Order are going for. Bailey's just kind of solo on the windows.
Oh,
no. Yeah. He's just done himself 50 HP. That's a bit unfortunate.
Something you hate to see, that's for sure. Now, I guess somewhat of a talking point is the fact that we've only got 4 drones available for Order, but of course the Rotero drones will go to full work here, and that's a decently used Rotero drone, because now Chiefs can't just sit back and play. They are going to need to get up in their face. Oh, geez, 35 seconds, Raven. This round has gone so quickly. Oh, no! Worthy, no! Worthy. Oh, he just got away.
It is a long timer. It certainly is. And just gets off his cams to Chaos. And Chiefs, they arise from the chaos here, Manic. They get the first 4 of that. Now Specker, 1v4, bro.
Kind of like the old Wild Wild West dance, boy, dance, you know? Trying to make sure that the feet and not shot out from underneath him. And that is just what the doctor ordered. If you're a Chiefs fan, you'd be absolutely cheering. Very happy with that result at 3-3, considering it was 3-1. And I mean, let's just talk about the impact of TAC timeouts, Raven, because honestly, time and time again, I'm seeing them come to full effect.
Yeah, no, look, they're really valuable. I'd say maybe not for every team. You know, some teams are either very momentum-based or just simply want to get on with it. But no, some teams are really using them to full effect. And you're right, we've really seen on many occasions we come back from attack, and the team that has taken it to kind of gather themselves, they really do bounce back. And that's been the case again for the Chiefs here. And maybe it was just a matter of them kind of slowly warming up or slowly waking up to this match. But now they've rotated to their attack, and it's a good time, I guess, if they're kind of peaking with their coordination, because that's when it needs to shine, is on your attacks.
Well, wait and see. Wait and see. What do they have to offer? What do they have to offer? Interesting little setup here that we're going to see from Order. We've seen it a couple of times. Use of these gates just on the inside of the garage wall, and essentially make sure that you have to util clear unless you want to burn through whatever it is for. I think it's 30 HP, something like that, 40 HP. But it's more, I find it's more the movement slow that you get when you actually go through them is the detrimental side of that. Plus the fact that you can't just blow them up. You can't shoot them off. So wait and see how Order or how Chiefs will approach that. Thermite obviously giving you a good indication as to where they'll be looking to use that to full effect. And setting up outside a garage for now, but I would dare say this is just part one of many parts of the minigame.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dance here to get garage open, but that frag grenade's going to come through with some success. Fisher guy is going to open up that left panel, which means Jack Dad can't go prone in front of the drone hole anymore. He's going to have to pull back, as does Nate, retreating deeper into side. And yeah, look, it means garage wall is going to be not too difficult to open. These are Rooney gates, though. They are going to cause a bit of a headache, because not only does it mean that they can't quite get that last part easily open with just a frag grenade, they're going to have to deal with it separately. Oh, no, there we go.
Oh,
Oh, Vast.
oh, that's a big one. That's a big shot just to finish out to ensure that he doesn't get it off. I believe still got two more left, I think. Maybe. Okay, yeah, he's still got two left in the pocket there. Sounds like that one's gone off, so you dare say that will be the right side. God Legion is stepping with the utmost caution here. But there you go. The Chiefs have, I would say, done this with relatively good time. All things considered. Oh! Oh!
Oh, that was a sharp angle there from Digital. That could have been really deadly for Nate. Got half his HP off. So, yeah, look, I think time management's going okay for Chiefs right now, but still with 3 players outside the garage. Sure, they've got access, but they're going to have to burn these gates with util, and that's just going to take a bit of time. Bailey's still hair in their face. They really need to get a little bit of extra control here. 4 of them outside, in fact, is not building towards that. Doesn't look like at all that they're content for piano control.
I mean, how do you really do this with a clash in your face? This is really awkward. Now, sure, they have been able to take out that left gate, but oh my goodness, Nate with a really nice shot onto Digital at the back of Garage. Very quickly traded out. Now, here it comes. Bailey's going to need to be careful here because in come the smokes. The C4. Oh, it's timed to perfection. Bisho guy's going to stick it. Now, this is not a favorable plant. The post plant is not going to be all that pretty. Bailey and Jack Daddy do the deed in Order. They walk away with such a convincing first round on their defense.
Yeah, wow, that was incredible. I mean, Chiefs were just very content on not having to do more than what they felt was necessary, but I think it was really necessary for them to do more because, in particular, they had the Aruni playing above in piano, at least last I saw from the outline of Nico, and that is so powerful for the Aruni because of the punch. You know, she could just punch the ground, instant verticals to all the plant spots below. They still had all 5 players up on the defense, so they had extra info. You saw it as soon as Chiefs tried to execute. It was instantly denied. It was just an absolute steel wall they had to try push through. And that was really just the the results of them not doing enough. They didn't get any picks. They didn't get vertical pressure. Order had everything at their disposal.
It wasn't even a brick wall. It was a steel wall.
That's it, man.
God damn. This is impenetrable, basically, is what you're telling me. Now, I am so far impressed with Order's ability to adapt very quickly here. Now, I am loving the use of the Clash. I feel like ANZ teams, you know, Australian, New Zealand teams, for those of you who aren't part of our region, that's what it really means. I am surprised that we don't see more Clash being played. Just, it seems like it does have quite a large impact. A lot of the Southeast Asian teams use it to full effect. So Nico, however, has been the player that I feel like has always been able. It's always been a viable option for him on the defense, and well, I guess it must be to varied success, because the fact that we don't see it more on him, you know, it has to have some element to that. But again, I'm a small brain bloke, and I can admit that.
No, you're definitely onto something here. I agree. You know, ANZ traditionally doesn't have a lot of Clash play, but certainly since the implementation of APAC South, where ANZ teams are getting more exposure to APAC South playstyle, or the Southeast Asian playstyle, I should say, where Clash is more prominent, we have started to see it more and more. You know, Order were playing it just the other night in OCN on Cafe. I think it was Bailey that was actually filling that role. But it is creeping into it more and more, and I think it's so justified. You know, Clash can be a real pain if not dealt with early enough or well enough. In that late round in particular, if you're trying to plant and there's still a Clash in your face, oh man, that is so annoying to try and struggle through.
I guess, like, when you look back at the last round, there were 3 layers that Chiefs had to get through before they were even able to get on site. And one of those layers is an ever-moving, ever-present Nico, who was on the Clash. So it's just not a fun time. It allows you to peek so much, and so much intel you can gain off of that. It's essentially a live, impenetrable drone. So, and that's for the defense as well. That's saying something. Now, Chiefs, once again, just feel like they've kind of stalled out a little bit here. But as they start to make their way in, they just need to be cautious of Long Desk, as Specker is holding it quite firmly.
Yep, he is. Again, Order going well with their defenses thus far. We're 2 minutes deep, and now Bailey's on the double. This is not looking great for Chiefs. They've finally found an answer back. But a minute to play, and Order still with some very significant control. God Legion trying to make something happen from below, but there it is, Nico. You see him still walking around with the Clash in lobby. That is looming.
Very present, that's for sure. Now, I believe the diffuser's stuck in CEO. Now, whether Order have a read on that or not, it's still, like, the Chiefs still have to go out of their way to go and claim that. Nate, the bullet hose, just trying to hold down the line here, try and find himself a kill, but Worthy with the perfect timing. Just like that, it goes bang. And Jack Daddy and Nico are the only thing that remain between Chiefs and their first round win on their attack.
Nico trying to play some big brain here. Kit getting collected right now, and on the run out on fast. No.
This is big. Jack Daddy goes down. It's all up to Nico. He's walking around the corner. No. Wild card, can't confirm it.
Wild card, Manic?
Oh my god, it's definitely not wild card playing. It's the Chiefs.
It's okay, bro.
Oh, help me. Okay, look, I will put my hand up and say tonight has been one of the most confusing nights of Siege I have seen. What even is that? What even is that?
Tonight has seriously been wild. Oh my gosh, like, that was looking like a pretty serious Order round for majority of it. You know, we came into that last minute, and Order had a 2-man advantage. It was 5 versus 3. Looked significant enough. As you pointed out, you know, Chiefs had diffuser down on top floor. They weren't anywhere near it. It just felt like everything was pointing to Order taking that round. And all of a sudden, Chiefs just get a 3K. All of a sudden, they have the man advantage. They push onto site. But yeah, Nico just gets the clutch out of nowhere. The Clash run out from lobby. I mean, of course, no one was going to expect that to happen. I don't know. It really has been wild, but what's big now is this is Order creating some pretty good separation on the scoreboard. 5-3 is a comfy spot to be in, especially on defense and Concierge. And they continue just to hold the momentum against Chiefs, and I think that's really tough right now.
I mean, you'd almost make the argument if it was the other way around, you'd pretty much say it's done and dusted, right? You'd wash your hands of any thought and finish up for the night. But there is something about the Chiefs this year that there is an element to them that you just cannot predict. There's an element to them that makes them extremely dangerous, which is that they are never really giving up. Even when, you know, the going gets tough, they seem to be the tough that get going. And Order will certainly be pushed to their limits if they want to take this game away. However, they are really in the best possible position to do so.
Yeah, and look, we've seen Chiefs come back in some serious fashion in recent weeks from deficits, and not just on the scoreboard, but even within rounds. There's a pretty big 1v3 clutch that Worthy got in OCN against Knights very recently that actually gave the Chiefs an opportunity to win that game. So they can do it. Definitely not a moment to write them off, but they are in a tough position because failing to win this round, not only does that mean Order will be on match point, they kiss goodbye the very important 3 points that we prefaced at the start of the match.
Yep. So important. So important at this part of the season. Stage, sorry, that you're really converting all 3 possible points every time you rock up into the server. Because I think the fight for top 4, you know, maybe first place, maybe Guz has something to this with the QC call about them maybe running away with stage 2, but certainly between 4th and 2nd place, which is, you know, that's playoff spot here in APAC South, it is going to be so close. And I think there'll only be a point, maybe 2 points in between who really goes through to playoffs and who doesn't. So 3 points are on the cards every single time. I hate this from Nate. I hate you, Nate.
Well, Fisher hated on him harder and decided that he was going to get punished for that. So justified, some would say. And God Legion backs it up. So this is looking good for Chiefs right now. Giving themselves this 2-man advantage. Minute to go. Specker has crept into Piano, though. Pre-placing this C4 at default, this could be devastating.
Certainly could. It means that there's no free plant behind. Oh, it looks like they've got... Yeah, that's a really nice read. They must have had a drone in Piano. I think I could see that from the outline there. Fisho guy on the camp was able to give the intel. So no more C4 on the bottom side of CEO. I'm sure Order might get a nasty shock if they have not sought that out. However, Specker goes down. This is looking so clean from the Chiefs. A great round to bounce back from when you consider what happened previously.
Yeah, it's going to be big from Nico and Bailey if they're to try and salvage this for Order. 20 seconds. Chiefs in great positions to be able to close this out. And it's going to be a tough little clutch, but could be possible here, Manic.
Could be. Not out of the realm, but God Legion makes sure of it. A flawless round. And that is one that the Chiefs would be cheering for, especially after Order gave them the quick 1-2 in the previous rounds.
Just hanging in there is the Chiefs right now, and that's kind of been the story of the past 9 rounds, really, is they haven't been able to break free and jump into that leading position, but they have been hanging in there. So as we go back to Garage, cast your mind back to round 7. It was a pretty big effort from Order. The Chiefs lacking a lot in terms of map control, or at least early impact in that first 2 minutes. So let's look to see whether the Chiefs clean it up this time around, whether they try and get more map control, at least try and poke harder to get some picks, because that was ultimately what cost them big time in that first attack round.
See how separate the approach is. No clash. No clash, so... Don't know if you just mentioned that, Ben. I'm not going to lie. I was off at the ferries for a second. So,
I didn't.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure, because, you know, it's been that kind of night that I could have... Oh, yeah? What you hearing?
Jack
what you
that
seen?
just lost a lot of HP. I didn't see what it was, but it's certainly not good.
How? From what? Could it have been a punch from Nico?
Nah, it doesn't do team damage. I reckon it must have just been Nico accidentally, like, clicked and just popped a couple of bullets in the back. I don't know. That's unlucky.
Well, nevertheless, it just means one additional layer to that basement defense that Order don't, that the Chiefs don't have to deal with. However, you are bringing the mirror. You still, you're bringing a lot of utility that Chiefs are going to have to burn through before we get through to the site itself. And like you said, I do believe it's going to come down to Chiefs putting a little bit more pressure on Order and trying to find an early pick. Even if it's traded, I don't think they can allow Order to sit so pretty for so long.
Definitely agree. So this is going to be a telling room clear here for Chiefs. Really critical. But importantly, they are really looking to get this map control. Now, Spectre is solo looming here over on the Visa side, decides not to progress past that drone, which is a good decision because there are 3 Chiefs players waiting on that top floor. And so far, the intent has been clear from Chiefs right now. They are not even going to touch Garage. They want map control.
Certainly do. I mean, the thing is, if they can get piano control, if they can get that first floor control, it's going to be a lot harder for Order to sit back like they did in the previous round, clash or no clash. So, it looks like that is going to be the real point that Chiefs make highlighted here, but Bailey, that's the first kill. Quite a crucial one as well. Vast would have been able to get a lot of information. He's having a very quiet night, considering it's Vast.
Yeah, he has been in really good form this stage, and he hasn't been doing too great tonight, but his teammates are doing all right. They have been able to at least trade him out, get Bailey out of that piano position. Already, even though Garage isn't even open, I just significantly feel like this is a better round for the Chiefs right now. They're certainly in a better spot to be able to make something happen. Jack Daddy is still low HP on site, so that could be an easy pick. And with the control they've got, they are able to make something happen here. Specker is looming ever so dangerously. It's going to be crucial that they don't let him make an impact.
Here we go. We are going to start working on that garage wall. Now, you got to remember, only 3 flashes and 2 grenades. That might find some good timing there from Jack Daddy to deny the left-hand side. Now, that is actually massive when we start to talk about the context of the round, and so is that. My goodness. Order don't even have to see the Chiefs right now to secure these kills. The right side of the wall to Garage cannot be open. There is no safe route in. They're gonna have to try and find these fights. God Legion, that's a huge kill. Nate answers back very promptly. And now in a 2 versus 2, what is Fish? Oh no! Nate is going absolutely massive tonight. He's given Order an incredible chance here. God Legion drops down the hatch, has to find both kills and can't do so. It's match point to Order.
Yeah, that was a massive pick on Fisher outside the garage. Honestly, Nate really did just win that for Order. It felt like that with the combo of God Legion and Fisher and even the positioning that it might have been doable. You know, Fisher might have been able to squeeze out a plant at the back of the black car or even rush to the front of white in time. But no, he didn't even get in through the garage. Very crucial. And on top of that, Chiefs have now lost the opportunity to get 3 points in this match, and they are staring down a 2-round deficit to Order, who are on match point right now. So you want to talk about the 3 points. Order has their hands on them.
Cannot be understated how big that electric claw was that was held in the pocket until the last second to deny the thermite of the it was the right hand side of the garage wall. They didn't have time to open it up, and that ultimately is what led to Nate just being an absolute beast and popping the head off. So there have been some really pinpoint precision moments here for Order that are putting them well and truly in the net positive. And we just asked the big question, what do Chiefs have? Do they have enough in the tank? I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to pull this back and send us to OT.
Doesn't really look like it, to be honest. I mean, based on the form so far, they have really struggled throughout the match in general. I mean, they did manage to scrape back half one to be 3-3, but certainly on the attacks, it has been struggle street. And yeah, I don't know. Lobby press, they did lose last time. They had an opening. It was close. It was the Nico Clash 1v2 situation, but it was looking lost to that point anyway. So I don't know. It's definitely a concern right now. Chiefs need to dig deep.
I think in particular, we're probably looking to Fisho Guy and Vast to start having an impact on their own side. I know that Fisho Guy hasn't really in previous weeks been called upon, you know, in a deep sense, if you will, to step up in the frag department. And I'm sure he's holding a lot of the weight of the tactical side of this roster, but still, there have been some massive moments where just a kill either way could have really turned the entire storyline, the narrative of the rounds. Now, as we take a moment, and the calm before the storm of this round, we look at Order's setup. Nico being able to sit there and support Bailey on that second floor is going to be so critical. Order still have the ability to rotate up. Spiral, which you saw Specker looking to do as well. This is going to be incredibly awkward for Chiefs to flush out.
Yeah, it is. They're going to have to be clean with it. Worthy has decided to air jab off the Visa stairs at least, and kind of not really poke into it too hard. Actually, it just looks like in general, Chiefs have decided to not hard flush this out, at least yet. But it's going to be tough. Nico in the face. What is this? God Legion? Oh my lord, this is very risky. Just run past. And this is quickly looking like it's going to fall apart for Chiefs here, Manic.
Yeah, what you said before about that air jab, Nico had actually gone prone and thrown an impact grenade right above the door, and it released it, so there was no information that he was able to push into meeting. No one was on the balcony. It's such unfortunate timing. Worthy, however, finding a quick trade really is actually quite crucial here. Nico still alive, just barely. Of course, he's the one to be peeking dry. And oh no. Oh no. Oh god, Raven.
This is not looking good, Manic. It's 4v2 right now, and that's just going to fade completely all on Worthy's shoulders here.
Order about to take down the Chiefs in APAC South. This is a massive game for them. All 3 points on the line. Worthy with not a hope in hell of making this possible. He'll find a free kill, the freest kill he'll ever be given, but he's got to isolate another 3 engagements. Nate nearly gives him the opportunity on the first, but is quickly shut down, and that is 3 points for Order.
Big win for Order, a very much needed win at that. They were sitting tied on the bottom, but this is going to project them way up into the middle of the pack. Again, just highlighting how close the pack is in APAC South, outside of Q-Confirm, of course. But that would now put them tied with Invictus Gaming in at 4th place. And, you know, there's a chance that they can hold around that 5th, 4th place. It really keeps them in the running for playoffs. So hats off to Order. They've really stepped it up as this stage progresses.
I think we'll look back at this matchup in particular for Order, because this was convincing. This was confident. This is the Order that we've been waiting for, the one that's been knocking on the door for such a long time, and such a great performance in such an important moment of the stage for them. You know, I do think that all 3 points here is going to be the difference maker at the end of the season. I think that what Order have done tonight, the fact that they've denied Chiefs the overtime points or anything like that, is absolutely monstrous. And really, we're probably asking questions of the Chiefs here, Raven.
Oh, 100%. It's just been really unfortunate start to APAC South for them. It's really not working out that well, to be honest. That's the 3rd loss from 4 matches. And quite frankly, I think it's really tough for them to make playoffs from this point. I haven't done the maths, so I'm not going to say it's impossible, but highly unlikely that they'll even make playoffs this stage. And given that they had such a well-finished stage in stage 1, they finished in 3rd place in the end. I think that's incredible. Yeah, really disappointing from them. I also want to quickly highlight, before we do kind of throw it over to analysts, I just think Consulate is not a great map for Chiefs. I feel like almost every time I see them play it, it's close or just never in their favor. I don't know what it is, but I'm very skeptical.
I think they call it a false positive, something like that, you know, where we get a false sense of security for Chiefs. I feel like this, even last year when they were Elevate toward the end of last year, yeah. Consulate was always the map where we were so confused as to their choice. I'm pretty sure they took Wildcard there and got absolutely obliterated at the end of last year. Doesn't look like much has really changed for them here. So, you know, maybe we can lean into the veto there. Maybe we can start to ask questions around that. But regardless, let's just move on from that and let's talk about Order, because they really have shown us some incredible things. You know what? We don't even have to talk about Order, because guess what? That's the desk's job, in which Xenox and Co. will take it away. Enjoy.
Well, I won't be discussing too much about it. We've got 2 brains that will be able to go over it. Big win for Order, 7-4 in the end a pretty convincing scoreline, Dev, and hey, it rings true. Just predict against Raven and all is well in this matchup. But look, I think Order's a team that's always capable of this. This is the thing. This is not a surprise. We're not shocked. I think if anything, we're probably shocked as to the way the season is going for the Chiefs. But for Order, they've always been capable of this. It's just a matter of doing it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, for sure. Look, looking at Order, all the things that I kind of highlighted and put a red flag next to in the opening of this match was not present. Like, Order were really in sync with each other. Like, yes, we had individual performances, but I don't think Order is ever really lacking individual performances. It just depends on who is firing on all cylinders. Today, that was definitely Nate. But yeah, they looked very much in sync. Nico had a great game. Really, really impressive showing on the Clash, especially that one round where he managed to clutch out. Nico is very much known for doing Nico things, thinking a little bit outside the box sometimes, and hey, it worked. And it was just great to see Order back and working as a team once again.
Oh, someone's got to come out and say, what is going on in the attack department for OS tonight? I don't know what it was, but this was one of the messiest nights we have seen in APAC South. Now, not to be a downer, of course, it was a fantastic result for Order, but my word, some of these teams need to go back to the drawing board. Nonetheless, though, a really good result for Order. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, now they're basically cementing their position right at the bottom of the standings. That's not where we anticipated them to finish up, as Raven, I guess, quickly touched on in the post-match. They actually performed quite well last stage. They made it through to the playoffs. They got some decent points on the table to try and stay in the APAC South League. Unfortunately, if they continue this trajectory, that's not looking good for them in the long term. But nonetheless, I hope that their positivity, I guess, can lift them up from this down and we see them bounce back.
Well, positivity is what is coming up in our interview. Always smiling, always mentally switched on. It is Specker. Look at that. Big chompers there. Specker, congratulations on the victory. All 3 points secured against the Chiefs. And I'll be the Debbie Downer here. I feel like we're always in this position where it's like, why can't this just happen more often?
It just must be the Mondays, let me tell you what. No, I'm not really too sure as far as consistency goes. I think it's something that we're always working toward. And gradually, you know, it kind of builds up and it's just a gradual process, I suppose. But as Guz was touching on before, some attacks needing to be redone. I just think it's the game of Siege as well. There's just some, like, you know, anomalies that happen here and there. It's a bit random at times. And I think in officials, you know, it's always a bit different to scrims. So, you know, people sitting in cheeky positions and potentially a missed drone here and there. But, you know, it's just all about, I guess, you know, decreasing that, I guess, range of hazardry, we'll call it. And getting it less and less until you're just a really consistent team that's, you know, working off each other and striving to achieve an objective, which I think we're starting to get to. So it's nice to see this result, boys.
Yeah, for sure. And look, while we are kind of ragging on attacks a little bit, I will say you guys had a really, really great attack half. Almost 4, if it wasn't for Digital's clutch. But yeah, look, from an outside perspective, one of the things that I really liked about it was the fact that, you know, Nate was running the Flores consistently. You guys banned out the mute, also the sledge. Maybe you could touch on a little bit what the thought process was behind those 2 bans and how that actually affected in-game.
Nothing to knock the man down, but just get Digital off sledge, and we just think he wouldn't really know what to quite do as much. He did go for the Yana, which is an alternate nade set. But, you know, not to say that he's a one trick at all, but we definitely saw that was a comfortable operator, right? And we're like, well, you know, we don't want them to particularly be utilizing that. I do use it myself, not potentially to the same caliber as they do. More of a supportive kind of fragging operator is how I like to use it, whereas they use it a bit more integrally. What was the other ban? Sorry, the mute.
Mute, yeah.
It's an interesting one. Yeah, so I don't know, with this meta at the moment, I feel like you either have Thatcher or Flores up on the board, right? I see a bit of EU like to do the double banning. I think even on Oregon with Wildcard, we saw them do the double ban against Knights, so you had no denial pretty much. And versing a mute against that, quite frankly, gentlemen, it's a bit how you're going, I suppose, especially if the team really thrives on that. We know that Fisho really does like that mute, so some logical bans coming out here, I suppose, that kind of, I wouldn't say directly contributed to the win, but potentially put them on a little plane where they weren't feeling as comfortable or as level as they potentially would have had otherwise. But I believe that, you know, today we played a good game as a good team, and that's all there is really to it. You know, you'll say, oh, we made mistakes, mate. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm jumping in bloody tellers here, and I've got a mirror on top of me giving me a little French kiss. You know, Jesus, it happens.
Quick turnaround, of course, for you blokes. Thursday, you got a huge matchup against QC. I guess give us an insight as to maybe what tomorrow's looking like. You're scrimming, you're prepping, you're resting. What's that looking like?
I've got chest on at the gym, so I'm going to lift pretty hard, boys. Have a good day. Feeling good. I think the rest of the gang might do the same. You know, we must uphold the title of, I would say, potentially the sexiest. I'm not even going to say potentially. I'm going to say the best goddamn lineup I've ever seen in Siege history. So, got to maintain that. No, but we'll probably just play our own game, really. Like, we'll have a look over Q-Confirm, of course, and do some research, because it's a bit silly to not. But I'm a very big believer in playing your own game. And once you've got a solidified personal game, yes, it can be broken, but on the day, if you just play a better game, you're the better players in the lobby. It is what it is, you know? Like, you can bring all the counter-strategy you want, but, you know, if someone like Nate decides to do something random, or Bailey is starting to do it more so, and when I say random, it's just like, you know, that little opportunity, if you see that opportunity, you know, capitalize on it, that's what really makes people be uncomfortable. And that's little things like jumping through windows if it's clean, or taking a control of the map if you've just got this feeling that, you know, it's either clean, or if, you know, it's been droned out and there's actual evidence to support that. So yeah, just really going to play our own game, take it easy, just keep trying to have fun with it, and keep growing as beautiful people and a lovely team. So yeah, that's pretty much it, gentlemen.
Any final shout outs you want to give, mate?
Huge shout outs to Nate. That beautiful man's birthday's today, so big happy birthday to Nate. Love him. He's a young gun, young soul, but he's doing awesome. But as always, shout out to you guys, to the fans, to Order. We couldn't be here doing what we're doing without your support, and without all the hard work that everyone really puts in. So huge shout out to you all. Thank you for allowing us to do this and to be here, and we hope the match was fun to watch today. So cheers, gentlemen. We'll catch you all on Thursday, hey?
Exactly right. Best of luck in the rest of this very chaotic week.
Thank you, sir. Stay well, boys.
Well, we have a wonderful Specker. Always fantastic to have him on and have a chat with him. I think we end up... I feel like one day he's going to start asking us questions and the roles will reverse, and then who knows where we'll go from there. But for Order, of course, they pick up all 3 points, Dev. That puts them on 5 points, and they are now a little bit closer to that top 5 position, and top 4 position, I guess. They're actually in 5th right now. Top 4 is the goal. They're equal on points with Invictus Gaming. It gives their stage a bit of a lifeline moving forward into the final 3 Playdays.
Yeah, and those 3 Playdays aren't going to be easy, but it's definitely possible to make playoffs here and to go pretty deep. Yeah, also pretty good birthday present for Nate, hey? And I think he earned it himself. He did all the hard work. Specker saying that Order is the sexiest team in Rainbow Six. I really respect that. And look, I don't think I could argue with the statement either.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far good looks are going to get you in APAC South, but if anything, it's a little bit of confidence. I know Specker is known for said confidence, but it felt like it was pretty genuine tonight. Happy with the result, happy with their outlook. Yes, it is a tough road home, but you can make that argument for any team. This is APAC South. It's incredibly competitive. You need to be at your A game, and like Specker said himself, if you rock up on the server on the day and you play the better Siege, you play your brand of Siege, you can get the dub. So we'll have to see what they can produce in the next couple of weeks, but I am starting to get a little bit more optimistic for them.
Well, we will go to a quick break. When we do come back, we do continue, though, with our lower half of the table, Rumble, Elevate versus 7th Heaven.